What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Dad's Not Always on Wrestling proudly bring to you its top 10 summer blockbusters, co-hosted by the West Coast Professor Jeff Meacham, the Renegade JJ Williams, the Dads Not Always on Wrestling.
And if you're at this point not down with that, I have two words for you. Donate instantly. There you go. Forever the shill.
You were going to say go home.
I am the Shawn Michaels of the group. I am forever the shill. That's it. There you go. Anyway.
Hopefully Road Dogg is pleased with that if he ever sees this. You know,
I hope Brian is doing well at all, man, after the heart scare, for real, man. God bless you, Brian. We love you, brother.
You know, I've always been a fan of the Road Doggy Dog.
Yes.
And especially the OG Outlaws introduction.
Even prior to DX.
Yes. But today, as we discussed there in the dramatized Hollywood-style introduction, we are going to be discussing our top 10 summer blockbusters of all time. Now, you may be wondering, what qualifies a summer blockbuster? And there's so many things you can go off of. You can just go off of movies that came out during the summertime. But just because a movie is released during the summertime, I don't feel that instantly makes it a blockbuster.
Right.
So, you know, I came up with my very own definition of a summer blockbuster. I pitched it to the man, the myth, the legend, the owner, operator, CEO of the Jeff Meacham Network. And he agreed with my definition. So we are defining a summer blockbuster as any motion picture that came out Memorial Day weekend. So the Friday before the Memorial Day Monday. That way that had that 4-day box office weekend through Labor Day weekend. So once again, the 4-day box office weekend as the end. So that few months there had to premiere. It also had to be number one at the box office for at least 2 weeks. Doesn't have to be consecutive, because sometimes, you know, a movie will come out and it'll be number one, and then the next movie, something else really hot, will come out and dethrone it, but that movie may not have the staying power, and so the other movie will creep back into number one the following week. Or it may be a movie that's got really, really slow build, you know, like some music albums. It'll debut, you know, number 10, number 12, number 15, number 3. But as time goes on and the word starts to get out about this movie, more and more people will go to see it, to the point where it crawls up to number 1 and then stays there for a few weeks due to the hype. So as long as it was number 1 for 2 weeks, then it counts. It also had to at least double its budget. Most of the movies that I have here triple, quadrupled, or even more exponentially did better than their budget. And I'm sure if we adjusted for inflation, the numbers would be even greater than what I have on my papers here. But you can't be a summer box office blockbuster and you barely crack your budget. Just because you've got big names, just because you got explosions and bang bang shoot 'em ups, doesn't make you instantly a summer blockbuster.
It makes you WCW99. So
that is, wow.
Caught him off guard. Very good.
So that is the Renegade Review's definition of summer box office Blockbuster. Once again, I pitched all that to Jeff. Jeff co-signed on it. Being as how this is a non-wrestling week, we're going to throw the pitch, the leadoff pitch out to you there, Jeff. Go ahead and give us your list. Do your honorable mentions first, and then your list, and I will do the same when it comes back to me. I'll do my mentions, then my list.
Very good.
Because in this case, I feel that the mentions were just that close to cracking the top 10. So they kind of need to be, you know, essentially 11, 12, whatever.
Right.
Whereas most times when we do an honorable mention, it's just oh yeah, I want to throw a nod to this as well. So take it away, Mr. Meacham.
That was a hell of a build for not a goddamn. I don't have any honorable mentions.
Oh, okay, well.
Yeah, there you go. However, as we say each and every other week when we're not doing a DADS Renegades replay, which, by the way, watch those. They're quality, especially this month. Star Wars Holiday Special and Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. You guys are in for it this month. Because those are not the greatest of all time in the sagas, but they're still fun. Well, Search for Spock is... The holiday special is what it is, and I watched it again, and I don't know why I did it to myself, but I did. Anyway, as always,
you can screen caption Lumpy, Chewbacca's son, at one point in the beginning, and he has a what the fuck look on his face. So there's our one for this episode.
Right.
It doesn't even have to do with what we're talking about. So
yeah, poor Lumpy is just like, why am I here? What happened? Why was I created to be in this? Everything we say on this show, on every show, on the Jeff Meacham Network is subjective. #subjective. And more likely, especially when it comes to summer movies, because summer movies tend to be a lot of fun, there will very likely be quite the amount of shenanigans throughout the course of the show today. So there you go.
And if you haven't gone to teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network and purchased your #shenanigans t-shirt yet, what is wrong with you? Get out there, purchase it. Because I pushed, goddamn it, for that shirt to be made.
We'll wait for it. It's okay. Go ahead. Good. You want to show first? Okay, cool. All right, cool. Very all right.
I was going to say, so now that you've made that purchase, Jeff, take it away.
Okay. Oh, editing's going to be fun this month. Okay, so
isn't it always?
Yeah, pretty much. So my number 10, I was almost sure it didn't crack the list because I was worried about the day. And then I remembered that it did premiere in June like I thought. I was thinking it was an early spring release. I'm like, oh, shit. Nope, June. And needless to say, considering the subject of the movie, it couldn't help but double its box office because the previous entry was such a god-awful, abysmal piece of shit movie that the fans of this genre, this character were like, anything but that, just give us something. And boy, did Warner Brothers give us something in 2005 with Batman Begins. Man, oh man, I didn't know what to expect going into the theaters. I'm not going to lie, because JJ will tell you himself, I have very much been more of a Boy Scout fan than I have the Dark Knight fan, like by and large. This movie brought me back to where I needed to be, where I had been in 89 and 92 and 95, and watching the TV series, campy though it was. I am very much on the Bat bandwagon, and I have been since this movie came out, because this is... Other than the show I still haven't watched, the best...
Glad you owned it, because I was about to bust your balls for it.
This is the best media presentation of Batman's origins. I mean, Gotham tells a hell of a 5-season story, I'm sure. Haven't seen it. I'll get there. But as far as one-and-done presentations, it's hard to beat Batman Begins on a movie or a TV level, because, damn, man, they get into it. And they make no bones about the fact that what we comic fans know all along, that Ra's al Ghul knew who Batman was from the beginning. Shit, he trained him in this one. Like, it was a cool twist. I like that. And I liked where the story went, and we'll get there later. But man, if for no other reason than the stupidly funny reason of Rick Ellis doing the "swear to me" voice in the Christian Bale voice when we're indie shows just to make us all crack up backstage, that's why it's on my list. And if you don't know who Rick Ellis is, go back and watch my interview with him. Listen to the voice, and I'm pretty sure I made him do it during the interview. If not, I'll do it next time I talk to him. But man, yeah, remember this movie came out, and then I started working with Gary. So I was working with Ellis all the time. So man, we would just crack everybody up. Just he's doing full-on Batman Begins scenes throughout the whole 2-hour indie show. And if we hadn't peed our pants by the time we went to the ring, we sure were at ringside. So God bless you, Rick. We love you, and I miss you, brother. And your Padres are pissing me off. Anyway, number 9, I know is on your list. I haven't remembered the whole list you gave me, but I know it's on your list because you've told me how much you adore this entry in the Tobey Spider-Man movies. And yeah, I said what I said. Because the villain is tremendous. The characters all around are tremendous in Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock as the lead villain. And I picked this particular image. People are going to wonder why I didn't pick a image with Doc Ock. It's very simple. There are 2 reasons. One, I know JJ is going to. Number 2, this image, the actual full-length poster, was actually had the touch-ups done by Dylan's maternal grandfather. He did the touch-up and final pieces of the details of this poster. And if you look in Spidey's mask eyes, Doc Ock's there, so he's technically in the poster anyway. But yeah, Dylan's mom's dad did the touch-up work on this poster, and I just thought it was so good that I had to find the YouTube thumbnail-friendly version of it and throw it up there because I've always loved this poster. It's so good. Number 8. Number 8 I love for so many reasons. And by the way, I'm not giving out the box office gross and the whatever, because I know my movie guy here will do that for his. So if he wants to jump in and give me numbers on my movies, by all means, go for it, dude. If not, I'm cool with it. I'm just doing my thing. I'm doing my part of the show this week because I know that you're gonna knock it. You know, I kind of hit a line drive up the center. You're gonna knock it into freaking, you're not gonna Angel Stadium into Honda Center somewhere. So good on you, bro.
You're the leadoff hitter who's designed to get on base. I'm the guy that comes up afterwards. It's designed to bring everybody in. Well,
the problem is though, on my team right now, that guy's Ohtani, and he's hitting home runs every freaking week.
Nothing wrong with that.
Anyway, all right. Number 8 is just one of those movies where I've yet to find a fault with it, and it's been out for 25 years. I just love this movie. There is no fault in it whatsoever, in my opinion. It's only not number 1 because there's so many other damn good movies on this list. I can't. It should be like 1A, 1B, 1C, 1D. That's how I feel. For real. So,
I feel you.
So, but if for no other reason, this movie features "I'll Die on the Hill," other than that moment in time where the great negotiator himself, Abraham Lincoln, stood there in Gettysburg and gave that notorious address in 1863. This movie features the greatest presidential speech in the history of the universe. Independence Day, baby. Oh, yeah. JJ knows. He lived with me through at least 3 4th of Julys in our time together as friends. The first thing I do when I wake up on 4th of July, not the movie, I put on the YouTube video of President Whitmore's speech to the troops before they take to the air. Every damn year. I annoy people with it. I make people want to throw my DVD player out of the room. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But it's just what's so funny, and JJ pointed this out to me when we were talking about a different show we're going to do later. There are 2 movies that I love that feature both presidents, and they're both played by essentially the same character in a different movie, because President Whitmore is Bill. Help me out here. I'm sorry.
Bill Pullman.
Bill Pullman, who plays Lone Star. Another movie I love to death, and it was not on here because it wasn't a summer release, Air Force One. The president is Harrison Ford. Han Solo, the guy that Lone Star parodied. Me and presidents, I'm batting 1,000. I love that shit. So,
yeah. And I always found it funny that, you know, granted, Han Solo was the original character, like you said, Lone Star was the parody of. But man, Bill Pullman got the shot to be president first, and then Harrison Ford came in and was like, "Hold my beer."
Right. Well, the thing
Not taking anything away from Bill Pullman, because he is amazing as the president of this.
Right.
But if there's anybody that was able to one-up Bill Pullman, it's Han Solo.
Yeah, and the thing is, President Whitmore is a medium part of a big deal overall in Independence Day. Harrison Ford is, you're trying to take over my plane, mother effer, no. You're threatening my family, you're shooting me, you're trying to get me to release a horrible dictator person. No, dude. Not on my watch, mother trucker. It ain't gonna happen. And Harrison's such a badass anyway, you can believe he'd want to like be shooting people off his plane and shit. So that's funnier than hell. So but Independence Day, it's one of those things where if only it were really a thing. Because it brings humanity together. What's really funny is I heard all throughout last year of, the pandemic's bringing us closer together. No, it didn't. Shut the frick up. You're bullshitting me. Come on, man. If something like this happened, then yeah, we'd probably come together because we all going to die if we don't. So
the pandemic in its infancy brought people together.
Right.
By the time they tried to pull the second lockdown, ironically around 4th of July, that's when people were like, no, you already cost us Easter. F you, we're doing our thing.
Yeah.
We already flattened the curve for 2 weeks. Remember?
Yeah.
That's what you said we needed to do. Didn't work. We're having our barbecues, goddammit.
Yeah. And I will never, because I was at Teresa's 4th of July last year. And like everything got canceled, and just I'm sitting in the window in the loft, you know, doing a show, and I'm watching the fireworks going, yeah, that's illegal, and that's illegal, and that's illegal, but nobody's stopping me. Like, come on, man. You're full of shit. Not stopping anything. Anyway, I got off track there. Sorry. This movie shows that if movies were real life, we can be brought together as people.
Yes.
Not as Americans, Britons, Frenchmen, Russians, whatever. But, you know, I will believe it when I see it. And the fact that they sacrificed Alex from Saved by the Bell college years first in that scene, it just breaks my heart. It's like, she couldn't catch a break.
Nope.
Although she was in the movie and not Leslie, so ha! Anyway, that, by the way, that's a new Sid joke. Because I bring it up on the show in June, so we're just gonna that's our new Sid thing. We're gonna do that every show now. We're gonna bring up Saved by the college years. All right. Number 7 is one of those things where everything kind of comes together at once. It's a summer release. It's a Disney release. It's got some of the best voice casting in American cinematic history, and the music of the god that is Elton John. The Lion King. Now, co-host over here is a few years ahead of me, so he won't have to endure this like I did. If you were a graduating person in the summer of 95, be it elementary school, middle school, high school, college, and you had a musical performance to do in front of your parents and your peers, it was the Circle of fucking Life. I don't care what school you were at. I don't care what state you lived in. You sang Circle of Life. And to this day, when I watch Disney, any goddamn thing, and that song comes on, I can sing the whole song front to back without blinking. Now, other than that, oh my God, this is one of those where if Mary Poppins, which we'll get to later on my list, was Walt's masterpiece, for a time, The Lion King was Walt Disney Animated Pictures' masterpiece. This movie checked every frickin' bullet point you'd want in a Disney animated full-length feature. It had comedy, it had drama, it had tragedy, it had, again, if Elton John's doing your score, you're going to win at least 5 or 6,000 Oscars that year. So let's just cover that right there. Jiminy Christmas. And again, the voice cast. I mean, first of all, you've got the greatest, well, maybe not the greatest father in cinematic history, being a voice of the father in this one, James Earl Jones. You know, you got Jeremy Irons, who has me having Batman trust issues to this day. Damn you, Scar. You know, Jim Cummings, who's the freaking Mighty Mouse of this movie, saves the day when Jeremy's voice goes out. You know, trying to make people get the hyenas getting scrap from him. I'm like, damn, Jeremy, relax, brother. All right, maintain. Whoopi Goldberg. Again, Jim Cummings also playing one of the hyenas. And Cheech Marine playing one of the hyenas, and Matthew Broderick, and Jonathan Taylor Thomas, and I'm going to go on forever, so I'm just going to stop. This, I feel, and again, I gush over Aladdin, I gush over Pinocchio, Lord knows to do that, and all the other ones, but this movie in 1994, I honestly, if Ariel and Little Mermaid started the Renaissance, although we give Oliver Company way too little credit in my opinion, Lion King was the zenith of the Renaissance, by and large.
Most definitely.
By and large.
Most definitely. Because the Renaissance definitely went downhill post Lion King.
I mean, because think about it. The following year was, no disrespect, brother, Hercules. Like, no.
Hercules, Mulan, Pocahontas, Tarzan.
Yeah, it's like, ugh. Yeah. And again, Pocahontas had the disadvantage of fighting history because not historically accurate. But no. The other ones were what they were. I like Tarzan personally. I do.
They're not horrible movies, but when you're coming off of The Lion King, after having that slow build of Oliver and Company, which granted isn't officially Renaissance, but over on the Renegades Review side of things, we count that as the true beginning.
Hell yes.
Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, Hercules, Hunchback, Mulan, Pocahontas, Tarzan. It's like there's nowhere to go but down after that upward climb, baby.
And man, it's a shame too, because Emperor's New Groove, I didn't like it. I know a lot of people did.
Yeah,
and then after that, like Atlantis, I thought Atlantis was way better than people give credit for. Like I like Atlantis. I mean, of course, I'm a Michael J. Fox fan. Gee, I can't imagine how you know that. But
buy the merch.
Buy the shirt. So and buy this if you find it on eBay. That's what I did. But yeah, The Lion King. It's what's really funny is I did that song for 6th grade promotion back in 19 that I was at a friend's birthday party last fall, and she was also in the class with me. So we were doing Disney karaoke at her birthday party. I'm like, okay. She wants to do that, and she wants me to be part of it. I'm like, Jen, I can't sing. She goes, well, do performance art. I'm like, are you sure? She goes, yeah. I'm like, okay. I thank God that my mother wasn't there, and her mother was in the other room, because it became the circle of life every chorus. And that's all I got to say about that. Because I was so mad that song has been in my head for 25 years, I decided to ruin it for every damn buddy in the room. And I sure shit did. Anyway, there you go. You will never watch that movie the same again. Ha! Okay, very good. Where am I at here? I don't know what the hell number I'm on. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. There we go. There we go. There we go. You want to talk about summer blockbusters in June? And if Lion King was the zenith of its particular era, this movie was the rebirth after the slow dragging through the mud with the dead carcass through two movies of Superman and Supergirl. And the Warner Brothers superhero, the DC movies were just dead on the vine. Because Superman was epic. Superman 2, Lester Cut or Donner Cut, take your pick. They're both decent. Donner Cut's way better, of course. 3 was okay because you knew it wouldn't be a classic with Richard Pryor being there as one of the people in it. It was going to be primarily a comedy. And the quest for peace was the quest for people to not buy enough guns to blow their brains out watching that damn movie. Good Lord have mercy. And Supergirl, dude, Christopher Reeve wouldn't even give Supergirl the time of day because that's how drizzling shits the script was, let alone the movie. And then Warner Brothers goes, all right, we've got these other properties under the DC banner we own. Why not try this one? And man, Tim Burton and Danny Elfman. Let's not undersell Danny's involvement because Danny and Tim are peas and carrots. We'll get to that movie later also. But everything ties together on this show.
Spoiler alert!
Yes, right. If you don't know that's on my list either, come on, guys. What the hell you been watching the last 18 months? Come on, guys, for real. Whatever it's been, I've been on the air less than a year, whatever. Tim Burton at the helm. Jack Nicholson as the villain. Kim Basinger as the love interest. The legendary Michael Goth and Pat Hingle as the supporting characters they played. And then he goes to cast the main guy. And he goes with Johnny Dangerously? He goes with Mr. Mom? Beetlejuice? What the frick? He can't wear his cowl. He can't wear that cape. He can't flash that signal. Bullshit. Michael Keaton. You and I said this many times. Val Kilmer was a great Bruce Wayne and his psychoses, whatever. George Clooney should have left the cowl home. Stop, go away. Michael Keaton was the best both, in my opinion. Because his Bruce was just twisted enough where you could buy him sneaking out at night with a mask and a costume on and going to kick bad guys' asses. But once he donned that mask, he was not Bruce Wayne no more. He was Batman.
Perfect example, and this is not on my list. The perfect example is the scene where he's in Vicky Vale's apartment and the Joker comes in and he grabs the fire poker and he's like, "You want nuts? Come on, let's get nuts."
Yep. And to this day, the reply from Jack is my favorite line not uttered by Danny DeVito in a Batman movie. "You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?" Oh, killer.
Yeah. Because
it's like, what the fuck does that mean? I don't know. It's like the sound of it. Boom! The hell, Jack? Jesus! You psycho?
So great.
So, and what's really great is that moment in Bruce's eyes where he's like, I've heard that before. Why are... And then later on, when they get the flashback in the Batcave, you're like, oh, shit. He done off the parents. It is all... Now, again, I don't like that twist myself. I much prefer the Joe Chill thing because that's a classic Batman thing. But Tim took a chance, and it worked. It really did.
It did.
And having that Joker character or that Jack Napier character be the murderer throughout the Burton Schumacher four movie saga worked enough because Bruce's psychoses were so prevalent throughout that 4-movie saga because he had to come full circle within the first movie that he had to avenge his parents' death. That's why he took the cowl in the first place. I can't let this happen to anybody else ever again. And then the fact that it's the guy that did it in the first place. People kind of shit on that, taking the Joe Chill thing out of it. I applaud Tim for doing it. I really do. Or however many dozen people wrote the damn script, because there's like 12 people that wrote that damn movie at one point or another. So,
you know, I've always wanted there to be more in the lore to tie Batman to the Joker.
Right.
And they gave us that in this. Whether it was a popular decision or not. Right. You know, like you said, some people crap on it because it takes away the Joe Chill thing.
Right.
But granted, the Joker is the Joker because he's the Joker.
Right.
You know, at the end of the day. But I've always felt that there had to be something more to make these two so connected as rivals, as arch enemies.
Right.
And you've put the little flip that Jack Napier, who became the Joker in this timeline,
because of Batman,
is the man who killed Bruce's parents.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that scene at the top of the cathedral where, you know, it's like, you made me, you gotta say I made you. It's like, he's not wrong. They made each other, man. And you talk about Duel of the Fates in Star Wars, Jesus Christ.
And that's one of the things that, you know, I love about the Lego Batman movie.
Right?
Is because the Joker, for all intents and purposes in that film, is trying to get Batman to realize, homie, you ain't shit without me.
Yeah. Yeah. The Joker, the Joker in that movie very much is Roman Reigns now. Acknowledge me. Like, for real. It's yeah. And I love
still,
that.
To this day, as controversial as it may be, say that the Lego Batman movie is the greatest Batman movie of all time.
It definitely has all the best you want out of each character, for sure. So, and you know what? Let's just stick around Gotham for a minute, Uncle Jay.
Okay.
Because my next one is, you and I have talked about this many times over the years, as far as your being the movie buff in my world and whatever. I still maintain personally where's the damn banner at? My opinion, this is still the greatest superhero movie of all time for me. The Dark Knight. Now, I know that Disney is going to come in here and smack me upside the head and going, 27 movies, asshole. I know.
And this is what number for you?
Oh, shit. Where am I at here? 10, 9, 7, 5.
Okay.
So, the greatest superhero movie of all time for me is at number 5 on my list. That's how much I think of the other 4 here. So, let's keep that in perspective. All right. Spoiler. You guys know what number 1 is, so I'm just going to go into that in just a second here. On the documentary for this, they talk about it being the perfect movie. There's not a thing wrong with that movie. You and I have done that back and forth many times in the last 10 years. There's nothing wrong with The Dark Knight. I don't think. I mean, really, the Joker has always been Batman's greatest foil, his most prolific and most notorious and bothersome nemesis. Sal Maroni, once he has his legs broken in 3 pieces, much to my stomach's chagrin, every damn time I watch this movie, I have to mute it. I do. It just, it's gross. Sal says it best. He's got no rules. You want to beat him, you have to break the one rule you have. And the Joker says the same thing to him when he's beating the shit out of him in the interrogation room. And he still gets one over on Bruce. Because he sends Bruce to the wrong place. On purpose. Knowing what will happen to Harvey, whether he lives or dies. Knowing what will happen to Bruce. Even though he doesn't know it's Bruce. It's Batman to him. And knowing what will happen to the commissioner and everybody. Dude. I adore Jack Nicholson's Joker. I will freaking take Mark Hamill's Joker to prom and show him off. I love him that much, all right? Heath Ledger's Joker is the only one that I go, I don't know if I like you, dude. You're a son of a bitch. Like, god damn, you're evil. You are twisted. And it's Heath Ledger. It's our little musketeer buddy. It's like, what no, Julia Stiles likes you. Why can't I like you? What the? It's like, God. But man, I would not have known it was Heath Ledger if I wasn't told ahead of time. You could have never convinced me it was Heath Ledger in that makeup. No way. Man, and of course, you know, Christian Bale's Batman going from, you know, hardening himself and, you know, allowing himself to let Ra's al Ghul die and breaking that rule, kinda. He can't kill the Joker. He just can't do it. And it's like, dude, he took your woman. He corrupted the White Knight that was Harvey Dent. What the fuck is this guy got to do to get you to freaking end his game, man? Jesus. It's so good. This is one of the superhero movies that I can grab at any time and put on and not be bored or want to wander or do any damn thing. I will. This room looks like a goddamn hurricane hit it. I can find Dark Knight right now. You will lose me for 2.5 hours. I'm gone. Bye. Nope. Love it. Number 4, I know you said it's honorable mention for you, so I'll go ahead and throw that under the bus right now because it's your favorite genre of all time. But for musicals, for me, non-Disney, let's get that out of the way now. This movie, I mean, I can't even say how much this movie means to me. And it's only number 4 because the other 3 have meant so much more to me in recent years. Number 4 has, you talk about a supporting cast of like who's who back in 1978. Like, I think every damn buddy in this movie has been a big star in their own right at some point or another anyway. Except Fanny Flagg, but she was cool on Match Game. I love you, Fanny. Whatever. But I love this movie. I love the play. I even like the sequel, which is probably a cardinal sin to say to most people in the real world these days. But my Rocky Horror Cast shadow casted Grease 2. That's how Grease 2 was awesome to us. Like, we actually shadow casted that thing. It's like, ooh.
That explains its sentimental value to you.
Right. But Grease is sentimental because of Grease 2. Grease is sentimental. I'll tell you why straight out. For one very, very big reason for me and my family. Number one, I grew up with it. I've been watching Grease since I knew what the lyrics in Grease Lightning meant. And if you knew the lyrics of Grease Lightning and you're watching before you're 13 years old, you are not being supervised by your parentals. Good Lord. Woo! Dude,
it ain't about a car.
Yeah, you talk about freaking having to edit shit for television or having to edit it to have a high school play. Woo! Yeah. What's really funny is our ASB director played Vic Fontaine in the play. You sit back and you go, I don't know if I'm taking that one on, but okay, sure. Oh, wow. But this movie's also right here because the title song is by Frankie Valli, of course, Grease. Grease is the word. And I got to see Frankie sing that song at the Orleans in Las Vegas wearing the leather jacket that John Travolta gave him during the filming. You talk about a freaking personal connection. Holy balls, Batman, for real. Like, geez.
Would it be fair to say, and I don't think we've ever addressed this, so this is a legitimate question, but would it be fair to say that second only to the Eagles is Frankie Valli for you when it comes to music?
No.
Okay.
I adore Frankie in the Four Seasons. I do. I always will. But there are many, 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 many. Like, the Eagles are one, and then there's a lot of 2s, 3. Like, there's a lot of people that are right there.
Okay.
Again, to be fair to the Four Seasons, I knew one of the guys that had become one of the Four Seasons during their 70s and 80s run. So not one of the original four, but through knowing him, I got to meet Frankie and go to his show and go backstage to the whole thing. And like I said, I loved Grease before I even saw him in person because my mom grew up on Grease. I love Grease so much, I bought the Rockin' Rydell DVD edition with the freaking T-Bird jacket cover. Yeah, I'm a dork. I don't give a shit. I love this movie so much. Well, she liked it too. I took Dylan's mom to see the play at the Pantages, and I freaking totally freaking hustled backstage with Taylor Hicks, who played the teen angel in the play. I totally hustled that shit. Why? Because it's Grease, and Grease is the word, and I love that movie, and I love the play. So, of course I did. But, yeah, for me, Grease is the best pure non-Disney musical in the history of cinema. And it started out as a play on Broadway, and it's so funny to think who played who on Broadway and then who played who in the movie, because a lot of it's especially Kaneki and Danny. You know, it's complete opposite guys in the other presentation. But I appreciate it more now with the subtle stuff. As a kid, the music's cool. Leather jacket guys are cool. The greasers are cool, and the pink ladies are cute and hot, and the cars are awesome. And you watch it back as an almost 4-year-old, you go, this movie has some pretty subtle shit that you don't get when you're 10, 15 years old, but it's good stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, now we get to the crying times. Here we go. Okay, so number 3 is, as I've mentioned many times over the years, and I'll probably mention again our Disney live action stuff next month. This movie is Walt Disney's masterpiece. This movie is a movie that Walt literally fought through the trenches to get made, get the rights to, and get on the screen. These songs are perfect. God bless the Sherman Brothers for existing. Oh my God. The casting is legendary. And even the supporting people that you don't realize who they are until you see the credits and you have Uncle Jay tell you, you know that is, right? No? What? But, man, and then finding out much later in life that one of the main songs that Julie Andrews sings as Mary Poppins in 1964, Feed the Birds, which I've adored my entire life, was Walt's song. He would have a day down the hall at the office and just wanting to explode. He'd walk down to that music room with the Sherman boys were there, point to the piano and go, play it. And they would just play it and sing it for him. And that's how he got his woosa at Disney. Feed the Birds. And I think about that now and I cry because I've loved that song my entire life, and to know that it had a personal, deep connection with Walt Disney, I just go, oh, fuck me. So, and I'm so glad it's a summer blockbuster because I really wanted to talk about it. So I'm happy that it made
any opportunity for you to talk about Mary Poppins is a good day, Tater. And if you don't get that reference, go.
That's it. And no, the Blue Collar Comedy Tour didn't make the top 10. Sorry, guys. We love y'all. Well, maybe not so much you, Larry, anymore. You're kind of a spaz. But anyway. Number 2, if you have followed me, if you have known me, if you have bunked with me, if you spent 10 minutes with me, you know I love this movie. It is, for my money, Tom Hanks' greatest movie. And you can talk to me about Philadelphia. I won't argue with that. You can talk to me about the recent outings as Walt Disney and Fred Rogers and everything he's done, over the years. I won't argue with you. Tom Hanks, we talked about it in our when you were doing your Tom Hanks month, Renegades. Tom Hanks is the greatest actor of this generation. Hands down. And this is his bread and butter. This is his masterpiece, Forrest Gump. And if you are a follower of the book Forrest Gump, you sit, watch a movie, and go, wow, they freaking PG'd the hell out of this Triple X nonsense. But, and again, I will probably get a lovely tweet when this goes live from a certain African-American Kings fan, of a friend of ours, about what I'm about to say here, but I think Jenny gets way too much shit. Like, she's the worst villain, and I had a conversation with him over Facebook. She's worse than the Emperor, and he said yes. How can you be worse than the devil himself? Like, Jesus. Everybody is a product of their environment, man, and Jenny had it bad from jump. And I don't understand the hate on her. To this day, I get confused by that whole thing. It really makes no damn sense to me. So I don't understand. I get that people feel that she used Forrest, and to a certain extent, I will say that. But I will also add the caveat of Forrest was her tether to reality. When her dad became the person he became and did what he did to her, when her life kept spiraling and spiraling, it would spiral back into Forrest's universe, and even for a day or whenever they were together, she was centered. So I don't think she's this evil being that the greater movie audience has made her out to be. I feel that she allowed herself to come back down to earth when she was literally on a perch having Freebird play and ready to jump off into the streets of Hollywood, and allowed Forrest to remind her that at her core, she's a decent person. And if we all could have somebody in our lives when we are so... Fuck, I'm crying. When we are so low that we literally have the thought of offing ourselves, if we could have that one person in our lives that makes you go, no, dude, you're worth more than that. Come on. I would love it if everybody in this world had their Forrest Gump if they were a Jenny. Off soapbox. Very good. Okay. Number one. Fucking duh. I mean, come on, guys. Come on. Is there any doubt what number one was going to be? I mean, I said it earlier talking about Dark Knight. Back to the Future is as close to a perfect single entry movie as you're going to get. Period. Granted, the Bobs got coerced with a lot of money to come off the bench and write two more. But if you leave the story at Marty and Jennifer and Doc flying off into the distance, the end, there's not a damn thing wrong with the script for sure. The script is taught in film school to this day, almost 40 years later. Some of the shots, of course you clean up from 85. You clean up in 2020, Blu-ray releases, because that's what we do. We clean things up. But at its core, it is the perfect movie. And when you think about it, your protagonist doesn't really have the arc. The arc is his dad. The arc is his mom. And having their original realities completely by his arrival, and him having to put it all back together is pretty much secondary, because when you think about it, he wasn't involved in the universe writing itself. At least not directly. Because he was thrown into the trunk of a car when he was supposed to be the one taking the blow from George and not Biff. George having to take Biff down completely changed everything. Which is why we don't mess with timelines in time travel movies. Now, granted, that worked out for the best. But one thread, man, done. George writes his own story back to the way it's supposed to be. Same with Lorraine. Now, granted, Lorraine had to kiss her son to realize, probably not a good idea. But once she realizes it, she is so distraught. Of course, I mean, well, okay, she's about to be raped, so I can't imagine why she's about to be freaking out. But once she realizes that her only way of getting out of this is for George to save the day, she gives him that look of complete peril, and George goes from fright face. You can see his face transform. Like, nah, no more. I'm done with this shit. Wow! And he's even like, what? Oh, like, I can't, because you remember, 30 years prior when it happened the first time, George wasn't that guy. So his own internal time clock is going, what the hell's going on? And again, music is everything in movies, man. Because that music swell when they're walking away from the car. Da, na, 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 na. Like, damn it. Damn it, I hate this. I'm such
Great
a soft
Scott, Doc, this is heavy.
Nice, right? I can't gush about this movie enough, and like I know I've made people nauseous over the last few years I've really been on this one, but like it's just I love it, and I can't.
I do too.
Yeah, I know it'll be on your list at some point, which is why we both wore the shirt today. But you can't. It'll take a lot to coerce me off the hill of dying on Back to the Future is the greatest movie of all time.
I know.
So,
I know.
Okay. Oh, by the way, thank you to JMN Financial for bringing me a Sweet Lightning Mountain Dew from KFC. Oh, yeah.
I've got my own tasty beverage right here, sponsored by Pepsi.
Oh, there you go. Same family. See? Right there. And here, just for that, Phil, I'll grant you one. There you go. Very good. Okay. Anyway. All right.
To steal from Wayne's World, and it's the choice of a new generation.
Well, here, if you're gonna do that, wait a minute.
I have the hat too, and I have the wig.
Well, I need the wig more than you do, asshole.
Yeah. Well, when I bought the wig, I still had the short hair, but now that I've grown some out again, I have a little bit.
Dude, full disclosure, Star Wars Day a couple weeks ago, seeing you in the mall makeup with that short hair, I'm like, I forgot he had his hair that short. Holy shit. Okay, this hat's comfy, so I'm going to leave this hat on the rest of the show.
There we go.
This is why 2015 is being so screwed up. The freaking heads are being pushed inward. Jesus. Anyway, no wonder Mario Jr. is such a screw up. So, now that you've had my list, and I've gone on for literally almost an hour by my damn self, which I knew was going to happen today, take it away, Unky J.
All right. Well, since I gave you all that build-up for honorable mentions, and then you boom roasted me by not having any.
Really?
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to throw my honorable mentions out there first and foremost.
Okay.
It's HM4 that I'm doing.
Right.
I'm going 4, 3, 2, 1. But my first honorable mention that I'm going to mention was on your list.
Yes.
And I know it floored you to no end when I sent you this picture as an honorable mention, and you were like, what the holy hell? You don't like musicals.
Right, exactly.
I would easily put this in my top 5 musicals that are not Disney related.
Right.
Released June 28th, 1978. Number 1 for 5 weeks at the box office and turned a $6 million budget into $366.2 million, which again, adjusted for inflation, is probably a nicer chunk of change than it sounds.
Yeah.
But Grease.
Oh, it is the word, brother.
Well, and I'll argue you on that one. Because for years, I've had this question about the word. And, the trash men tell you that the bird is the word.
I know.
Frankie Valli tells you that Grease is the word.
That's right.
But my dad said it best. The greatest rock band of all time, the Beatles, say the word is love.
There you go. All right.
So I tend to lean more towards love being the word as opposed to Grease.
Fair enough.
Just saying. But the story, the actors, like you said, the music, the cameos. And no, we're not talking about the app on your phone that you pay for people to give a little 30-second greeting for you.
Yeah.
But Grease is easy in my top 5 musicals of all time. And I know that surprises people because I'm not a musical person.
No.
We all know what my number 1 musical is, and that will never be dethroned. I think it would probably surprise you to say that Rocky Horror is number 2. Because of my history to go into that on a regular basis, much like you were cast for a long time.
I was going to say, knowing what I found out about your attendance once I invited you to come see me in MI, it's like, it would make sense that that's your number 2 musical, because it's one of those things where it shouldn't be anybody's number anything, but damn it, because it's so bad, but it's so much fun. Like,
yeah.
And what's funny is, again, full disclosure, I have not been to the show in a very long time, but I've got the Blu-ray, and I've got the Blu-ray that has the option of watching with the Shadowcast on the screen. Every once in a while, I kind of miss it. And our cosplay buddy, Alexander the Red, huge Rocky Horror fan, friends with our buddy Bernie's now ex-wife. His ex-wife Lauren did a lot of Alex's corsets and stuff for her costumes. She didn't know a Blu-ray existed with the shadow casting and stuff on it. I went, hang on a second, like $15 on eBay. Sent it to her. It's in her PO box. It's just it's like, you're a Rocky Horror fan, you have to see it with the shadow cast.
Yeah.
If you don't have a theater near you, like if you're in like freaking Kansas or some shit, there's not a theater ready to show Rocky Horror with a shadow cast. So you're never gonna get to go see that live unless you get out of your damn home state. So that Blu-ray is everything. And yes, Rocky Horror is my second favorite musical, cinematic all time besides Disney stuff, because Grace is obviously my favorite. But yeah, Rocky crept in number 2, pretty much out of the blue for me. I'm not gonna lie, because I hated Rocky Horror and having not seen it. I'm not going. That's gay. Screw that crap. 6 months later, here I am. There you go. Anyway,
the next honorable mention I'm going to discuss is the 3rd installment of arguably Pixar's greatest endeavor. And I still believe this is where it should have ended. I enjoyed part 4 for what it was, but this is where it should have ended, in my humble opinion. June 18th, 2010, number 1 for 2 weeks. $200 million budget into $1.06 billion. Billion. Toy Story.
Billion, yeah, exactly. Whew.
Honestly, was there a better villain in the Toy Story franchise than Lotso Huggin' Bear?
Nope.
And especially when you get his backstory.
Yeah.
And why he's such a mean, miserable son of a bitch.
Tragic.
He was replaced.
Yeah.
Not in the same way that Buzz almost replaced Woody. He was physically replaced by another Huggin' Bear. And he lost out on that time with his owner.
Yeah.
You know, the prospector in part 2 had some solid motivation.
Yeah.
Sitting on a dime store shelf, watching every toy get bought except for you.
Right.
And that's tragic in of itself.
Right.
But to have an owner and then them replace you with another of you,
yeah,
is that much worse.
Yeah. It's...
And then the introduction of Bonnie.
Yes.
And the farewell scene of
Andy
giving her the toys and playing with them one more time. Which is what you want the entire movie. They are struggling, trying to get Andy just to notice them.
Yeah.
And when he picks them up and plays with them, with Bonnie before driving off to college, that was the perfect ending.
I don't care if you're a ginger. If you don't cry during that, you have no soul on top of no soul. Like, God damn.
Every time I boo-hoo.
Yeah. To this day, the only toy I have bought from that entire franchise, Lotso. I don't know where he is, but I did buy him. Because as evil, and even when he had a chance for redemption, he still tried to be an asshole, and he ended up on the freaking front of Sid's truck. Yes, it's Sid from the first one. Look at the shirt. Figure it out, kid. He still ended up as a freaking hood ornament on Sid's truck. But I still it's like, man, like you said, the first one, Sid in the first one, he was a punk ass kid. He deserved what he got, for real. Al, the toy owner, just a greedy son of a bitch. He deserved what he got, which was nothing. Pete, again, the prospector, that sucked. And I, of course, the villain has to get his comeuppance. It's a Disney thing, so being stuck with a owner that marks for Barbie, all kind of looking like a freaking Etch-a-Sketch face. That's kind of a haha, dude. Lotso's entire story is just cruel. It's just bad. And I'm very glad you didn't pick Toy Story 2 for your Toy Story entry, because then we have to go in the whole ankle breaker thing again. I don't want to do that no more on this film. And if you know, you know, kids.
I was going to say, if you don't know that reference, go look back at me and Jeff discussing WWE.com's top 50 entrance themes of all time.
And I'll tell you right now, the best way, go into my video section and then start with oldest first. Because if you go backwards, it's going to take you a while.
My next honorable mention really was on the cusp of cracking the top 10.
Yeah.
Because it's a summer blockbuster. It is probably the most critically acclaimed film in the DCEU. Right. Which, that's not saying a whole lot.
No.
But this film is very critically acclaimed. Released on June 2nd, 2017. Number 1 for 2 weeks. And depending on the numbers you look at, ran from anywhere between a $120 to $150 million budget to a return of $822.3 million.
Wow.
Wonder Woman.
Oh, sorry, wrong era.
Linda Carter will forever be Wonder Woman for an entire generation of people.
Oh, yeah.
And I take nothing away from Linda Carter.
Definitely not.
I really can't take anything away because I don't recall ever seeing any of the episodes.
Right.
I've seen her in the outfit, and oh my God, she looks amazing in that outfit.
Yes.
But I've never seen any of the show to really be able to take away from her performance.
HBO Max.
But when I think of Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
Gal Gadot is what I imagine.
Yes, agreed.
You know, she may not be as curvaceous as Linda Carter in that outfit, but that was definitely a product of the time and trying to more sexualize Wonder Woman than anything.
Of course.
But you want to talk about sheer grace, dignity, and badassness?
Yes.
This woman stormed the battlefield for reshoots 6 months pregnant. I just said everything I need to say about this woman right here. That is a legitimate Wonder Woman.
And when I heard that, every time I'd ever argued about any kind of pain I ever had in my entire life ever, I went, yep, ball shrink, I'm good, thanks. Because she's storming battlefields in World War I era surroundings 3 months out from popping. Yeah, no, shut up. Shut up and hold your little paper cut.
Wearing that outfit.
Yeah, wearing that outfit. If you complain about any sort of, yeah, you're a bitch. Just shut up. Flat out. Like you said, badass to the core. Love her. Love her to pieces.
My last honorable mention is probably the greatest film made by Robert Zemeckis that is not Back to the Future.
Hang on. I will tell you no because you have one on your list for sure. So,
do I?
Yep.
Okay. Then I digress.
Do you know which one it is?
Not off the top, no.
I tell you when you get there.
Okay.
Okay. But yes, this is a damn good movie. And when you figure he's making this at the same time he's doing the part 2,
yeah,
he's a badass himself. Jesus.
And this one falls into the whole non-consecutive category that we discussed.
Right.
Because it was released on June 22nd, 1988, and it was number 1 for 2 non-consecutive weeks. It came out, it was number 1, then it got dethroned, and then it popped back up the 3rd week.
Yeah. Who's number 2 second week? Do you remember what you saw?
I don't know.
Okay. I was curious.
$50.6 million budget, turning profit to $329.8 million. And when you consider a good chunk of that $50.6 million was probably spent obtaining the rights to some of the characters in this movie. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Yeah, just think about it, guys. $50-something million in 1988 dollars produced this gem. Holy shit!
Yeah,
like that's ridiculously cheap money for what came of it. My goodness.
Yeah, this was definitely a technological breakthrough at the time.
Hell yes.
Because, granted, you've schooled me about Pete's Dragon, but this film took that to the next level.
Very much, yes.
You know, a tremendous hybrid of live action and animation.
Yep.
Charles Fleischer is the voice of Roger Rabbit. Iconic.
Yes.
Bob Hoskins in one of the Bob Hoskins trilogy box set that I, love to convey.
Yes.
And I'll get a little bit deeper into that in the coming weeks.
Yes.
But dude, like legitimately, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is such a great film.
Yes.
And in the grand scheme of things, very much forgotten.
Yeah.
Toontown exists at Disneyland based off of that movie, but Toontown is not a place you want to go.
Not movie, that's for sure.
Toontown, when you go there in the park, it's very boring. Aside from Mickey's house, which I know you love and adore, but you've got Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin. You've got Gadget's Go Coaster, and that's about it. The rest of it are houses that you can walk in and meet Mickey or Minnie at her house sometimes. or Goofy at his house sometimes. But there's really not a lot to put butts in Toontown.
Yeah, I think the problem with the intent of Toontown being a physical existing thing is Disney was very take hands off when it came to Roger Rabbit because of the darkness of the movie, which is why it was Touchstone and not Walt Disney Pictures. But they saw money in the idea of Toontown being a place where kids could go. But if you watch 1988's Who Framed Roger Rabbit and go to 1993's established Toontown, they are not the same town at all. And what I find, and again, I'm splitting hairs. I'm basically being nitpicky. The fact that they tuck the main person that brought Toontown to our plane of existence into the side corner of the entrance of Toontown in his cartoon spin ride, it's kind of like, oh, look at it. Oh, yeah, you're over here, Roger. Hi. Like, that's bullshit. But
Yeah,
again,
and he's not around to greet people.
He used to be, and I have photographic evidence of that.
I know he used to be, and I met him at one of our character fan days.
Right. Well, no, I mean, I have a picture of him when I'm like here. So yeah, Roger's always been a very polarizing character at the parks because it's kind of like the Star Wars Holiday Special. If you acknowledge it, how far do you pull that thread before you really get into, let Jessica be a character? Yeah, no, you can't do that. No. Well, they could if it, over in Club 33. I'm okay with that. But hey, have her do a song and dance number. I'm totally okay with that over in the lounge. I'm all right with that. But yeah, it's how far do you pull on that? How far can we pull before? Oh shit, I pulled too much.
I could see them realistically allowing Roger and maybe doing Judge Doom.
Well, if they want Judge Doom, they can have Tom Brady do
it. And possibly, I understood that reference. And possibly someone as Eddie.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But everybody else, no, not really.
The thing is, when you think about the fact that most of the Disney characters in that movie are, if they're not full-time at the parks, they're the people that pop up every now and again during those character fan day things. But you can't have the Warner Brothers characters over there because Six Flags has that. You can't bring, the Betty Boops or whatever because that's just way too much licensing money. You kidding me? The Hanna-Barbera guys can't show. None of that shit's going to happen. So it would have to be Roger, Judge Doom, if you really want to frighten kids for the rest of their damn lives, because even as again, you don't even realize it's Christopher Lloyd until it's too late. It's like, dude, that what the hell's Doc doing? Why? And Eddie and Eddie's Dolores. But I've seen people cosplay Jessica decently and very like, oh wow, it's so horrible looking. Please stop that right now. Costumes that Disney trying to Disneyland her out. It would be too much of a pain in the ass. There's no way. So, but like
the best you could probably do without being overtly sexual would be to use like her and her park ranger outfit from one of the shorts. Right. But even then, it's like.
But if you do that and you were born after 95, you're like, what the hell? I don't get it. So, yeah. But yeah, this is what like Zemeckis, and again, Zemeckis is doing this and Back to the Future Part 2 at the same time. So he's got my forever, for just the sheer balls of it all. And you remember they're making 2 and 3 at the same time, like back to back during that process. So he's really doing 3 movies at the same time, both of which have scenes where, there's like major CGI types of where they're having the same person in the scene twice. It's completely bonkers. So Zemeckis is one of my favorite directors of all time, and he's awesome. But this movie is definitely his best up until you get to where you're going to get to in about 2 or 3 spots. So anyway, carry on.
Now we go to the official list.
Yes.
And my number 10 was your number 5. From July 18th of 2008. Number 1 at the box office for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Turned a $185 million budget into $1 billion. The Dark Knight.
Yeah. 10 times the budget, kids.
The Dark Knight. And, you know, you went at great length about this film because of your adoration of it. And so I'm not going to harp too long on it. But, you know, you talked about Nicholson's Joker. You talked about Heath's Joker. And you even mentioned Hamill's Joker.
Yeah.
And it's part of why I harp on you so much to get through Gotham. Because Monahan's Jerome Velasca is the perfect hybrid of those 3 Jokers. Period.
I know.
He is so amazing at essentially being the non-Joker Joker.
Right.
Because they did not have the rights to the name. They could use any other character in Batman lore except the Joker.
Wow.
But how can you do Batman without his greatest adversary?
Exactly.
So they figured out a way to basically have the Joker without calling him the Joker. They even go as far as to call him Mr. J at one point.
I remember you telling me that. Yeah, that's crazy.
But if I remember correctly, not once do they ever call him the Joker.
No. Either brother.
Right. And you just have to commit, my friend. You have to commit.
I know. I'm gonna try.
You keep telling me that. Try not. Do or do not.
It's not May 4th no more. Leave me alone with that Yoda shit.
No, but it is May, and I am still in sci-fi month.
Damn it.
But The Dark Knight is definitely, especially from a critical standpoint,
right,
one of, if not the best Batman story ever told.
Oh, yeah.
Now, is it my personal favorite? No. I've said this numerous times, do I still feel that Heath Ledger would have won the Oscar if he hadn't died? No.
No. Same here, honestly.
Nothing against his performance. It was amazing.
Yes.
But why didn't he get an Oscar for Brokeback Mountain?
It's too controversial.
You know, I can understand him not getting an Oscar for 10 Things I Hate About You. I can understand him not getting an Oscar for The Patriot, especially since he was a supporting role. Especially since he was only a supporting role in that.
True.
But it's much in the same vein as Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
Was the movie he won the Oscar for the movie that he should have got it for, or should he have gotten it for something else?
Right.
He should have gotten it for something else.
Yeah.
But, oh, well, here, you're dead now, so we're going to give it to you for this, because it was so monumental.
And at least Leo got his, whether he deserved it for that movie, at least he got to go and accept it. You know, and yeah, you know, you and I will go back and forth forever about Leo, because there are times where I just want to have Leo sink in the movie in the first 10 minutes of that damn movie. And there's times where I want, no, you make room on the draft, you bitch. But, you know, it's like, he is so well-versed in so many different styles of movies that it's like, how does he not have an Oscar until that stupid bear movie? What the crap? So, anyway.
Number 9 on my list was your number 7. From June 15th, 1994. Number one, surprisingly, for only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But it turned a $45 million budget, 45 million, into 968.5 million.
Damn.
It almost cracked $1 billion in 94.
Yeah.
The Lion King.
Yeah. It made its money back tenfold, and then another fivefold on top of that, or half of it, even at Christmas.
The money it made in the box office probably single-handedly recuperated the box office losses from Disney from the 70s and the early 80s.
True that. Oh, you know what? And again, I know we talked about this earlier, talked about Oliver and Company being the Renaissance start officially. Do we sleep on Great Mouse Detective on purpose?
Only because I've never seen it all the way through.
Just making sure, because it's damn good too, for what it's worth. So,
I feel you on that, but I've never really seen it.
Right.
You know, Oliver and Company, I clearly remember seeing in theaters.
Right.
And aside from possibly some Disney re-releases, which may be a little fuzzy in my head, I believe it was the first animated Disney film I saw in theaters.
No, you would have been 11 at the time, or 12 at the time, so I don't see why not.
You know? Robin Hood was definitely one of my things growing up, but that was out before I was born.
Right.
It was definitely a VHS thing of mine.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of the animated stuff that came out there between Robin Hood and Oliver and Company was stuff that I just didn't really find an interest in or gravitate towards. You know, Mouse Detective, The Black Cauldron.
I still haven't seen that.
Same.
Like, and I'm not like, oh my God, I could give a shit, like, for real.
I mean, I will be watching it eventually when I do my Disney movies.
Right.
But as of today, filming this, I still have not seen it.
Yeah.
And I will remedy it, like I said, but, you know.
And to be fair to your not seeing Detective all the way through, at the time I finally saw it, I was a major Sherlock Holmes fan. So anything that resembled the Great Detective, man, I was on that like flies on shit. So Great Detective was definitely my jam. So, you know, I would say it maybe doesn't because there really wasn't a strong release in 87. So it's like there's a gap there between Mouse Detective and Oliver Company. So it's like, where's the start? So there you go. Yeah. Anyway.
And by definition, the jump off of the Renaissance is The Little Mermaid.
Right,
right. When you look at Oliver and Company, and we've discussed this before, but when you look at Oliver and Company and you look at the cast and you look at the music and the soundtrack, it's very much the jump off point for the Renaissance.
Yeah. And when you think about the big name that scored a decent chunk of that track, Billy friggin' Joel, that's the precursor to Elton friggin' John doing this one.
Yeah.
So
dare I say the American equivalent to Elton?
Well, I will, dude.
I mean, hell, they've toured together.
I was just saying.
Pianos facing each other, trading off song for song.
Dude, here's how cool Billy Joel is for you kids at home. He's toured with Elton John and with Garth Brooks. So if you don't think Billy Joel is cool, please unsubscribe and go away. Really.
When Garth Brooks takes one of your songs and makes it virtually unrecognizable as one of yours, that's saying something. And to this day, my favorite Garth cover of a Billy Joel song is from the original This Is Garth Brooks special, for those of you that may remember that. His version of You May Be Right.
Yeah. dude.
Because even when Billy joins him on stage in Central Park for that one, Garth has to tell him, I kind of rock this one, so you may need to keep up, old timer.
Yeah,
It's very much a Marty moment, watch
Right.
me for the changes and try to keep up.
Yeah, I love that whole, and again, here we are off in the weeds. Here we go. But I love that whole Central Park special with Garth because honestly, like having the two of first of all, Billy comes out of nowhere and they do Ain't Going Down, the Sun Comes Up together, which that song kicks ass on its own with Billy Joel along for the ride, like Jiminy Christmas. And then they do New York State of Mind. It's like, oh my God! Like they're in New York at Central Park, and freaking Billy Joel's on the piano, and Garth is doing his part to sing. But when Billy's singing, Garth's looking at him like he's this godlike figure just on the piano, like, it's Billy Joel.
And then Billy repaid the favor
Yeah.
in his final concert at Shea Stadium before the original Shea was destroyed.
Yep.
And brought Paul McCartney out.
Right.
Because of the Beatles' history at Shea, and let Paul do a couple of songs on his show.
Yeah. Dude, Billy Joel is like the coolest dude ever, and the fact that Oliver & Company does not get recognized in the Renaissance era is still bullshit, because just for Billy Joel's involvement alone, dude, put it on the damn marker. Crime and knee. Anyway.
We're already way off in the weeds, so whatever at this point, but the fact that they basically they almost fired Billy from the cast because he just couldn't get into the character. Right. And it wasn't until he had what I call an Eazy-E moment. And for those of you that know the story of Boys in the Hood, you know what I'm talking about here, the song, not the movie.
Yeah, Eazy-E, not Eric Bischoff.
It wasn't until Eazy-E put the sunglasses on in the booth and kind of metamorphosized into the public image character we would all know from him that he was able to nail the iconic track. Because he was just dicking around, didn't think it would work, and he was showing that he didn't think it would work.
Right.
It was very much the same with Billy. It wasn't until he put those sunglasses on that Dodger Dons during Why Should I Worry that he kind of slipped into that cool voice, the Dodge. Nailed it. And they were like, okay, we didn't fuck up here.
But yeah, Billy Joel and all the awesomeness of that soundtrack, I still say, like I said, led to their deciding that they really needed epicness for this epic tale of Lion King. Man, can you get more epic in any decade than Elton John? Really. So,
Oliver & Company led to Celine Dion and Peabo Bryson doing Beauty and the Beast.
Yep.
It led to Peabo Bryson and Regina Belle doing A Whole New World, and it led to Elton John doing The Lion King. Yes. I say it, I mean it, I'll die on that hill.
Absolutely. I'll be by your side to death, brother, I got you.
Number 8 on my list. And the more I think about it, the more I think this is where you're going to nail me here from what I was just talking about a few minutes ago. And that nonchalant looking off in the weeds tells me I'm right. I honestly forget he was involved in this.
I know. It's okay.
Because it's not something you think about when you think of this movie.
No.
But released July 6th, 1994, 4th of July weekend. Number 1 for 5 non-consecutive weeks. So once again, it had a little run, got knocked down, then crawled back up because it was so good. And the word was out about this $55 million budget into $683.1 million. Just give me the budget alone and I'll be good for life.
Right?
But, the takeaway, and in all honesty, 50 of that budget probably went to Tom's pockets. Forrest Gump.
Directed by
Robert Zemeckis.
Attaboy, there you go.
My mama always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
I thought the logo just barely didn't cover any of that.
Right? And I didn't even think about that when I chose that because I had seen the image that Jeff used without the words on there, that quote. But when I saw the perfect for streaming version with that quote, I'm like, dude, that is so iconic. Between that and stupid is as stupid does. Either one of those quotes could have been written on there and I would have gravitated towards that as opposed to the non-quote version.
So, just so we're clear, boys and girls at home, playing the home game along for us, Robert Zemeckis is responsible for 3 movies on JJ's list and 1 on mine. Or 2 on mine. I mean, Robert Zemeckis helped co-write the Back to the Future trilogy, brought us Roger Rabbit and his crazy universe, and made Forrest Gump a reality on the big screen. I know y'all love your Oliver Stones and your Coppolas and whatever.
Tarantino's.
What's that?
Tarantino's.
I always forget about Quentin because other than Pulp Fiction, I really have to dig in and watch his stuff because like some of his stuff is so like way out there, like I can't horn it in for my own self. But
for me, when it comes to Tarantino, his original 3, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, and Jackie Brown,
yep,
gold.
Yeah.
Anything after that, hit and miss for me.
Yeah, I'm not saying I dislike or like it. It's just that Quentin very much gets up in his own shit, and he kind of goes off more in the weeds than we had the last 20 minutes. But anyway, our generation, Robert Zemeckis is the GOAT.
Yeah.
So.
And so is Tom Hanks, and the fact that they gelled together in this.
Right, exactly.
Kind of says all you need to say. And, you know,
that's it.
I do, to an extent, get the hatred on Jenny.
I know.
You mentioned it. I had to touch on it. That's why I was so quiet on your end, because we have so many in common. I figured I would just get my 2 cents out when I talked about him. But, like, I get some of the hatred on Jenny. But like you said, and I'd never really thought of it in that aspect before, every time she spiraled out of control, she found her way back to Forrest.
Yep.
And Forrest was able to right her world, if even for a moment.
Right. Yep.
You know, when he tries to get her to stay and tells her that he loves her, is one of the most heart-wrenching scenes.
Oh, God.
You know, I may not be a smart man, but I know what love is. Yeah. And you can watch his heart break over his facial expression.
And the thing is, he's so at his core pure of heart that you know he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
He knows what love is. He's had nothing but love from those he kept around him near and dear. His mother, the housekeepers. He loved Bubba in every way you could love somebody that you meet in such a shitty circumstance. You know, he loved Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan wanted to kill him for costing him his legs. All Forrest knew how to do was love and care for people. So I do understand the people hating on Jenny for not reciprocating, but you have to understand something. Forrest came from having to battle back from physical ailment and having to overcome that, but he had a loving support system. Was his mother a dirty whore trying to make sure her son got ahead? Of course she was, but she still provided for her boy. He had a support system up behind him. Jenny had the complete opposite. No mother, and the father, if the father was a person in the real world, he wouldn't last long around me or you. I'll tell you that right now. He'd be dead. So yeah, I totally get both sides of the Jenny hate. I totally understand it, like I said before. But yeah, I mean, that scene where he's on the or she's on the stairs and it rips your guts out. And then she goes up and sleeps with him, and then she leaves, and it's like, wow, oh, awful.
Number 7 on my list was your number 9.
I totally took over your points. I'm sorry. If you have more points, please make it. I get. Ugh.
Number 7 on my list was your number 9.
Oh, okay.
Released June 30th of 2004. It was number 1 for 3 weeks. And it flipped a $200 million budget into $789 million. So almost quadrupled its budget.
Yep.
Spider-Man 2. And you have no idea how much I'm tickled that Alfred Molina may be back as Doc Ock in the final installment of Tom Holland's series.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Supposedly, and take this as rumor, okay? But supposedly, now that they've opened the multiverse in the MCU, we are supposed to have, if the stars can align, Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Willem Dafoe, Alfred Molina, Jamie Foxx's Electro, plus they still have Michael Keaton and Woody Harrelson from Holland's crew and Gyllenhaal's Mysterio that can be weaved into the story.
Dude, where's the guy from Futurama? Take my money now. Jesus.
And on top of all that, almost guaranteed, Charlie Cox is supposed to return as Matt Murdock from the Daredevil TV series on Netflix. Finally bringing the Defenders from the Netflix show officially into the MCU.
Your budget. Give me the numbers again for Spider-Man 2.
200 to 789.
Think about that. This is a non-MCU Spider-Man. It costs $200 million to make. Can you imagine if the MCU's only cost $200 million and the money they've made? The entire Walt Disney Company building would be full of shit because people would shit their pants so much. Like, the fact that this only quadrupled its budget when it's, I dare say, the best of the three. And granted, people shit on 3, rightfully so, for the emo scenes, whatever. But
Part 3 was bad because they tried to stuff too much into it.
I was just going to say the same thing. It's like, there was so much in 3 that it really should have been 3 and 4. I mean, really. And they didn't want to go beyond. Sam didn't want to go beyond a trilogy, which I totally get. You know, he wanted his story to be done, and he wanted to move on. So, you know. But I know you love Doc Ock, and dude, hearing you say that he might be back, holy crap, dude.
Yeah, because like I said, the multiverse is open, so they're really trying to pull off a live action Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh my God, dude, it'd be awesome.
You know, both Toby and Andrew keep trying to downplay it to the media, saying that they haven't even been asked. But you know that's just from the eras that they come from, man.
Right, exactly.
They're trying to downplay it so that when you sit in the theaters and they pop up, you get that genuine fanboy reaction. Yep. Much like when Cap finally wielded Mjolnir. Everyone knew he was worthy. Everyone knew that he was probably faking an Age of Ultron. So when he grabbed it to fight Thanos, and you saw it come back to his hand, everyone's like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit.
Dude,
that's what they're going for here.
Yeah. You know, because it was on Facebook recently as a memory. I had not seen the entire saga the whole way through. And even I popped like a freaking little schoolgirl when that freaking when Cap pulled that off. Like everybody around me is like, "Oh shit!" And I'm like, "I don't understand, but that's awesome." You know, because it was an awesome moment. Like it's funny when you get caught up in something. You don't realize what you're getting caught up into, but it's like, man, the whole theater, you can feel everybody's chest get like 3 sizes like bigger. Yeah, it's like I don't understand it, but mine is doing it too, so it must be something good. But yeah,
because only those that are worthy can wield it.
Yeah, and I love going back and watching these now, and watching the non-MCU, the X-Men movies, all the Spidey movies, and all the other stuff. And it's like there's so much stuff that you didn't realize you saw until you go, oh was that there before? Mm-hmm. Dude, man, Easter eggs and cameos are a beautiful thing, especially in superhero movies, because people out of nowhere just pop up. It's great. I love it.
If you want to get hype, before I go on to my number 6, if you want to get hype about what the future is for Marvel, a couple days ago from filming this, not from air date,
right?
A couple days ago, they released a trailer for everything that's supposed to come in Phase 4.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
From Black Widow to the final image being the Fantastic Four.
Again.
Narrated by Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Oh my God, if that didn't get me emotional, hearing him talk about his world.
It is one of those things where we appreciated Stan while he was here. But it's like, God, it just a few more years, just until it was all completed. I thought that for a long time, and then I thought about Walt. Disneyland will never be completed as long as there's imagination in the world. Stan Lee's imagination being projected onto film, endless.
Yeah,
there'll never be a definitive end. Oh, well, Endgame was the end. Bullshit. Far From Home.
It was the end of that arc.
Right, exactly.
The arc that officially began in the Avengers, because that was our first glimpse at Thanos.
Right. It was the end of the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. But
you want to talk about a trilogy story, each phase was its own trilogy.
Right. So the MCU is much like Disneyland. It will never be completed as long as there is imagination in the movie makers and the fans. Because they've made Fantastic Four about 600 times. They're bound to get it right eventually.
Now that it's in the MCU, it should be.
Right, exactly.
It's a sad statement on the film presentations when, to date, the best version of the Fantastic Four is the version that was never intended to be seen, and you can only find on YouTube or bootleg copies.
Yep.
Said it, mean it. My number 6.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so number 6, if you watch it for an hour and 45 minutes, we'll fix it right now. There you go. Very good. Okay.
My number 6 was what the lead actor called the second major movie of Big Willie Weekend. Because he had success with the movie that appeared on Jeff's list, which will pop up a little bit later in my list. But for a time there, 4th of July weekend unofficially became known as Big Willie Weekend. July 2nd, 1997. Number 1 for 3 weeks. $90 million budget to $589.4 million. And it marked his return to music. Men in Black. I adore this film.
Yep.
I adore the sequel. I still haven't seen part 3, which features Thanos as young K.
Yeah.
There's a mind F for you.
Yeah, right?
But I even enjoyed the MIB International with Chris Hemsworth.
I haven't seen that one either.
It's not great.
No.
But it's not horrible.
No.
It's just different.
Right.
And these two had such chemistry. For as dry and witless as Tommy Lee Jones can be, and if you don't know, just ask Jim Carrey what Tommy Lee Jones thought of him on the set of Batman Forever.
Right.
Tommy Lee Jones was not amused by Jim's antics.
No.
But this film is so good.
Yes.
And such a great blockbuster. And like I said, for a kid who grew up listening to DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince,
yep,
who one of the first tapes he had in his original boom box was He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper, with the classic Parents Just Don't Understand and A Nightmare on My Street. To hear Big Will get back behind the microphone and perform the theme song as well as Just Cruisin' on the soundtrack, which gets a little overlooked because it's not as iconic as MIB, but it's still damn good. Man, if he wasn't already a box office draw with the movie that came out before this, he definitely cemented his legacy with this fun, as well as his return to music for a good 4 years.
Something like that.
Afterwards, at least 3 albums.
Right.
Because Big Willie Style, Millennium, and then I want to say the last one that was decent was called Lost and Found.
That sounds right.
If you want, you can check me on that before I get to my number 4 where I discuss him again.
Well, let me just let me also say this. 2 things about MIB. Number 1, we've had Hulu in this house for a few years now. MIB 3 aired on whatever channel it was on TV that week. It's in my DVR on Hulu to this day. It's been there at least 2 years. Still haven't watched the damn thing.
I have it on Blu-ray in my collection.
Jesus, that's even worse than me!
Because you know me, I'm a completionist, so I gotta try and get them all, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
In time.
So then the other thing is, you mentioned Will did the title track. I can do the entire dance to this day.
I'm sorry.
If they play the song and I hear Will calling out the directions, to this day.
Please don't.
Oh no. That'll be a major if you sign up to Patreon, and you may get to see that, because you're gonna pay me to see that shit. That's just god awful. So yeah, I'm talking millions of dollars. No.
That money, money. Yeah.
Exactly.
That money. Yeah.
Big money. All right. So
number 5.
It was Big Willie Style, Millennium. Born to Reign was 2002.
Okay.
And then Lost and Found was 2005.
Okay. So almost a 10-year run back in music.
Right.
As a result of this jump off.
Right.
And yeah, there were a couple of sidesteps there. But for the most part, it was solid hit after hit after hit. MIB, Getting Jiggy with It, Miami, Just the Two of Us, Wild Wild West, which was better than the actual movie.
Yes. Hey, you know what? Full disclosure, my dad watches Westerns on the weekends. Wild Wild West is like watching freaking church in this house. I watched that movie once. I'm like, yeah, nope, done. Bye. Sorry, Will.
The best is to listen to Kevin Smith talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll save that for off camera.
Yeah, a little bit.
Number 5 on my list was your number 1. Go ahead. Yep. Put the hat back on.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
July 3rd, 1985. It was number 1 for 11 non-consecutive weeks. It had a 3-week run on release as number 1. Then it got dethroned. Then it came back for an 8-week run.
Yeah.
Turned a $19 million budget into $388.8 million. And when you think with everything they pulled off in that film for under 20 million, seriously, think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
So many of the films on my list are older motion pictures, so their budgets are so small, and in return, their returns are kind of smaller in the grand scheme of things. But I mean, dude, 19 million, and they made you believe that a DeLorean could travel in time and fly.
Yeah. And you've talked about, the movie garnering this much and whatever. Let's not forget, at least on your movies, this is the only, well, Men in Black did too, to a certain extent, but this movie and your number one, I will say, took the budget that it had, whatever limited it was back when it was made, and spawned a franchise. And especially this one that is so beloved to this day. I don't hear a damn person saying boo bad about Back to the Future.
No.
And this movie, like I said, $19 million.
And you got to figure a decent chunk of that was reshoots because they fired Eric Stoltz mid-production and brought in Michael J. Fox.
Yeah,
six weeks of shooting they had to reshoot,
or at the very least cover up with because people don't know this. A lot of the scenes you see where somebody's talking to Marty off camera, Eric's in that shot. He's just not on camera. They had to go for that because Universal was on their ass to get that movie done. So, yeah. But just
yeah. Number 4 on my list was your number 8.
Oh wow!
And it was the birth of Big Willie Weekend.
Yes.
July 3rd of 1996.
As it should be.
Number 1 for 3 weeks. Turned a $75 million budget into $817.4 million. Independence Day. And dare I say, the only thing that would have made Independence Day better is if Will had done a song for the soundtrack for this.
Yeah.
But when you figure he fought aliens again 4th of July weekend the following year and did a song, we forgive him.
That's right.
To this day, in my brain, if aliens exist, they look like the aliens in this.
Yep.
Because they look so real and believable. And poor Data.
Oh, I was just going to say.
With his long hair
oh man.
and goofy demeanor, after being so used to seeing him in his next gen gear and haircut.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a mind F. When it was pointed out to me that was Data, I was like, you're kidding me.
No.
You've got to be shitting me. It's like, no, that's all right.
Yeah. And for us dorks, us Trekkies, we had only seen Brett Spiner be comical in a sinister way because of the twin brother, Lore. And he was such an evil son of a bitch, but he was funny about it. So to see him as Dr. Oaken, you're just like, oh my fucking God. What did I just watch?
Yeah. And the supporting cast in this, so good. So good. People sleep on Harry Connick Jr. as Will's buddy there.
Yeah.
Randy Quaid, I fly, I pilot.
Didn't we learn anything from Chevy Chase? Don't trust Randy Quaid with anything.
Yeah. Shitter's full.
He's crazy. By the way, kind of slips under the radar. I forget the actress's name, so forgive me. The oldest child, the older daughter in Mrs. Doubtfire is in this movie too. She plays the girlfriend of Miguel, Randy Quaid's son.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, You watch that, and you go, hey, wait a minute. But yeah, she's cool. And now, I'm going to ask you, since we're going to move on from this movie, since you became a parent 12 years ago, is the scene where President Whitmore comes out and talks to the little girl, and she asks, is mommy sleeping now? And he nods and picks her up and gives that hug. Is that not the most gut-wrenching freaking thing in the history of anything? Like, son of a bitch.
Definitely one of them, man. Definitely one of them.
I mean, I felt it in 96. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not that callous as a 13-year-old. But, man, now that I'm a parent, it's like, oh.
And this, you mentioned how you play the speech.
Yes.
Every year for 4th of July, man. This, if I am not locked down at work, this and Yankee Doodle Dandy are required 4th of July viewing for me in my house.
And you know this.
I'll usually start the day with Yankee Doodle Dandy, and I will end it with this. Man, I remember one year working at Goodwill. 4th of July, we were always open.
Right.
And I convinced the manager to put one of the TVs we were selling and one of the DVD players we were selling up by the register. And I played both those films over the course of the day while customers shopped.
That's tremendous.
No one asked how much the TV or the DVD player were. People wanted to buy the movies. Said, no, bitches, those are mine. Back off.
Yeah, that's a great. Oh, that's awesome. I love that shit. That's good.
My number 3 didn't necessarily start a franchise, but dare I say, without this film, the franchise would not have gone for near as long as it has. Because the original, back in 84, was pretty much a one and done.
Right.
They did this one, and there's been about 500 ever since.
Right.
Including TV series.
Yeah.
From July 3rd, again, 4th of July weekend, 1991, it was number 1 for 4 weeks. Depending on what numbers you look at, turned a $94 to $102 million budget into $520.9 million. Terminator 2, Judgment Day. And this is Arnold Schwarzenegger at his best.
Yeah, you mentioned that it didn't start a franchise. I will say it defined the franchise.
Yes, very much so. This was one of the, at the time, few sequels that definitely eclipsed the original.
Right.
Yeah, we had already had The Empire Strikes Back 11 years prior.
Right.
Yeah, Aliens is better than Alien.
Right.
And then you had Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Yep.
Other than those 3, at the time of its release, you would be hard-pressed to find another sequel that was that much better than the original. I
still haven't seen the original to this day.
Got to add it to your list, man.
But part 2 I saw definitely not in theaters because I was way too young to see it in theaters.
See, me and my dad saw it in theaters.
Not well. I mean, remember you were into your teens.
I know. I'm like 6 years older than you, so I know. So, but still.
But yeah, but when I did see it, like I didn't even know there was the one where he was a villain. I'm like, wait, he's the bad guy? What the hell? Like I had no idea. So
that's why Sarah is so freaked out when she sees him.
Right.
Because in the original, he's sent to kill her to prevent John from being born.
Right.
But now at this one, John is born, and we learn he's reprogrammed him in the future to come back and protect him now against the dastardly T-1000 Robert Patrick.
Ooh, Robert Patrick. Ooh.
who did such a great job in that role that he reprised it a couple times. Most notably in Last Action Hero, another Schwarzenegger film where he makes fun of himself, no less.
Yep.
And in Wayne's World. Wayne is in pursuit, trying to get Cassandra back from dastardly Rob Lowe. And here comes the T-1000, pulls him over. Have you seen this boy? Wayne screams, bolts. I've seen this movie. I know how it goes.
Right.
But like I said, without this film, there's no T3. There's no Sarah Connor Chronicles on television. There's no at least 3 more films after T3.
Yeah.
Genesis, Salvation, and the one where Linda Hamilton came back.
Right.
That's at least 3. So without the success of this, none of that exists.
Dark Fate, I think, is the name of the movie.
Which could have been a good thing.
Yeah.
Because those are all very questionable entries in the franchise.
Yeah.
It's very much the odd Star Treks.
Right. Yeah. People wanted to love the fact that Linda came back. Dark Fate was still rough, man. I mean, the technology to de-age both her and Arnold is damn good. Don't get me wrong. And the story in of itself isn't bad. It's just, if you were going to do this, why did you do the other 55 before this? Like, why? So.
And, you know, you want to talk about a heart-wrenching scene.
Oh, my God, dude. Here we go. Fuck.
I know now why you cry. But it is something I can never do. That one line was basically in, I'm sorry I tried to kill your mama.
Right? Dude, you know, that scene gets me now because he's lowered into the lava or whatever. He's lowered into the fire thing. When I saw Toy Story 3 the first time, flashbacks.
Oh, I bet.
I fell apart in the theater, Jay. I'm like, oh my God, why? I didn't know why. And I went home, I'm like, what the hell just... Oh, yeah. Because the Terminator died the same way. I was like, shit. Thank God for those stupid Martian toys. Oh my God.
Number 2 on my list. And I'm going to make a bold statement here. And you can call me on my shit if you want. You're good for it. You know, I respect your opinion.
Yes.
There had been summer blockbusters prior to this.
Right.
Dare I say my number 2 entry defined what a summer blockbuster should be. From July 11th, 1982. It was number 1 for 16 non-consecutive weeks. 6 of them being in a row. Took a $10.5 million budget in 1982 to $792.9 million.
They made this movie for $10 million?
Yeah. And
Holy
returned
shit.
almost $800 million.
That's absurd.
Card-carrying member of the Senate, E.T., the Extraterrestrial.
I had no idea it was that low a budget. Holy shit.
It was 1982, man. Everything was realistic. Everything was puppetry, remote control.
That's true.
You know, it wasn't a whole lot of special effects.
No.
Computer-generated imagery. These were realistic effects.
Yep.
E.T. was either a puppet, a man in a suit, or a remote control device.
I think that's what made E.T. ride so popular while it was here in Universal Hollywood, because it wasn't that much different realistic-wise from the movie.
No.
Like, at all.
And the other part that made it popular was that you gave the attendant when you boarded your name. And as you were going through the final climax, E.T. is saying your name.
Yeah, that rocked my world. Like, every time.
Me being who I am and was back in the mid-90s, me and my buddy told the attendant Beavis and Butthead.
Of course.
So E.T.'s going, Beavis, Butthead.
You are terrible. You are just the shits. You're awful. Oh my God.
But for real,
yeah.
Tell me another film that really helped define what a summer blockbuster was.
I don't know when Jaws came out. I forget the month, but Jaws did some serious coin. So
Jaws definitely is one of them. And like I said, there were ones before this.
Right.
Jaws is definitely one I was alluding to.
Yeah, this one is more of a sleeper, like holy shit moment. You know, Jaws was Spielberg. It was big, not big budget, but big budget for back then. It was a
same with this.
It was a Spielberg like thriller suspense movie that you knew was going to rock your shit. E.T., from everything I've seen, literally came the hell out of nowhere. Like, what? You know, and again, it's much like, you know, Forrest Gump earlier. Elliot, you know, yes, he's a kid, and yes, he's, you know, rambunctious and, you know, troublesome. The kid is so pure at his core. And then when you think about it, I didn't realize, even back then watching it as a kid, how dark this movie gets.
Mm-hmm.
When Elliot and E.T. get sick and the freaking house gets tented, for lack of a better term, that is some heavy-duty shit.
And let's not gloss over little Drew Barrymore.
I was going to say.
All of her adorableness back then.
Yeah. Having come into Drew Barrymore fandom when she was already super hot Drew Barrymore, and then watching that E.T. back, I go, I feel dirty.
Well, see, and I grew up with her.
Right.
Like through the movies.
Yeah.
E.T., Firestarter.
Yep. Well, y'all aren't that much different in age because she was a little kid in '82. So
I know.
You know.
I would have been 6.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, not quite 6. Well,
yeah, 5 going on 6.
Right. Yeah, like just before 6. Yeah. So yeah, y'all aren't that much different in age. So I can definitely.
I know.
Yeah, it's very much like my brother and the Olsen twins. Like they're right there with each other. So yeah, yeah.
And then my number one, if E.T. defined and set the standard for summer blockbuster, number one came, said hold my beer, and redefined summer blockbuster.
Same company.
Yeah.
Amblin,
Universal, Spielberg. June 11th, 1993. Number one for 3 weeks. $63 million budget into, are you ready for this number?
No.
1993. $63 million budget into $1.033 billion.
Jesus Christ.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah. It actually just hit me right now, dude. Amblin, Universal, Spielberg. In some way or another, Jurassic Park, E.T., and the Back to the Future movies. I think we all as a collective humanity should get in line at wherever his house is and suck Spielberg's toes in reverence. Like, oh my God, thank you, Steven. Because I love the Back to the Future movies. I love E.T. sometimes. I go back and forth. I love Jurassic Park too, man. I love this movie so much.
E.T. is definitely one that I loved as a child. Then I kind of lost it for a bit. And I've slowly started to come back to it.
Yeah, see, I haven't got there yet, going back to it.
But Jurassic Park, you know, throw the image back up because you kind of pulled it down pretty quickly there.
Well, I was making my point about the other movies, so yeah.
No, I know. But Jurassic Park, I mean, you want to talk about how for $19 million we believed that a DeLorean could travel back in time and fly. For $63 million, they made me believe that dinosaurs existed again.
Yeah.
They were so realistic looking. They did such a tremendous job with the effects.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you see the glass of water shake in the car, you know shit's about to go down.
Yep.
And the oohs and the ahs and the beauty of everything until the switch gets flipped.
Yeah.
And they revert back to their primitive states.
Yep.
And yeah, looking at them all on the little tour from inside your Jeep, man, it is awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
Until animals attack.
Yeah. What was the budget number again?
$63 million.
$63 million to bring animals back from 65 million years ago. The irony is not lost on me there whatsoever.
No.
Carry on.
And then, of course, it spawned 2 sequels. It spawned a spin-off franchise that has already had 2 films working on the third.
Right.
The third in that franchise is supposed to be bringing everybody back.
Yep.
Which I love because Jeff Goldblum's character in this steals the movie.
Oh my God, yes.
To the point where he delivers the best line in the sequel.
Yes.
You know, ooh, ah, that's how it starts. Then there's the running and the screaming.
Yeah. Yeah. And his line from this one, I use every time somebody pulls off a miracle. You did it. You crazy son of a bitch, you did it. And they go, what are you talking about? I'm like, go away.
This movie was so inspiring that even Weird Al had to parody the story of it.
Yes.
By taking MacArthur Park by Donna Summer and turning it into Jurassic Park.
Oh my God.
I'm afraid those things will harm me because they sure don't act like Barney.
Exactly.
And they think that I'm their dinner, not their friend.
Yeah. Put it this way. We saw it in theaters, the 4 of us, including my 6-year-old at the time brother. Ooh. We didn't finish the movie in the theaters. Yeah. Little one had nightmares in a hurry.
I'm sure.
God damn. Like, ooh, well, oh, it's a Spielberg universe. It's okay. Yeah, no. You're wrong for that family. You a bad family for taking little one. No. God damn.
But there we go. Now that we're 2 hours plus into this episode.
Editing for days.
We are finally at the end of my list.
65 million years later.
I understood that reference.
I'm glad you did 10 minutes later. That's good to know. Oh, geez.
What do you guys think of our lists of the top 10 summer blockbusters? Do you feel that we left anything out that falls within the criteria laid out? Let's not forget that. Go ahead and pop those up one more time. Had to premiere between Memorial Day weekend and Labor Day weekend, those 2 4-day weekends at the box office. It had to be number 1 for at least 2 weeks, and it had to at least double the budget. Did we miss anything major? I mean, you put that image back up and damn near everything on it we covered in some way, shape, or form.
Everything but the princess there.
Yeah. Well, we briefly talked about Star Wars in the intro and how it didn't fall into our criteria.
Right.
And we mentioned Jaws when we were talking about Spielberg. So, you know, everything up there got at least a mention during this broadcast.
There you go.
Did we forget anything major? Let us know. if you're watching the live stream, the premiere, you can leave your comments over here next to me. If you're watching on demand, and good on you for spending 2+ hours on demand watching this, but leave our comments down below. And while I'm pointing down below, do what that ticker does, because it'll make the boss man over here very, very happy.
Very, very fat in the wallet. And I will leave you all with this, because we are late in our day here, and it ain't Friday. I got shit to do. So I will say this: thank you all again for enduring with us. I know 2.5 hours is a long time with us, and I appreciate you guys respecting our opinions enough, or at least enjoying our shenanigans enough to sit with us for 2.5 hours. There is much more to come. I talked about it 2 weeks ago on the Kane Show. We've got a lot already lined up to record and have recorded already. We are not going to disappoint you guys the rest of this year. We've got really solid topics coming up. You can watch.
Give us a couple examples, Unky Jeff.
Okay, I was going to get out of this damn show, but fine. So, all right. I got to scroll, motherfucker, scroll.
Gotta draw money. They'll be back in 2 weeks.
No, I'm not talking about Roddy Piper movies. I'm talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin's greatest matches in 2 weeks. So that's okay. Let's get the excessive logos off the screen. That'd be super. There we go. Hi. So 2 weeks, and again, we're still debating on where we're gonna go, how far back we're gonna go. Either it's gonna be Stone Cold Steve Austin or Steve Austin, the wrestler since 1990, one or the other. But either way, next time we are here with you on Dads, we will have our opinion on Steve Austin's greatest matches in his career. 2 weeks after that, end of June, the 25th, we go back to the movies and the top 10 all-time live-action movies under the Disney Studios umbrella, which, Uncle Jay, why can't I just say Disney Pictures live-action? Because it doesn't quite explain it now, does it?
No, it doesn't, because Walt Disney Studios live-action encompasses more than just Walt Disney Studios. You've got Touchstone Pictures. You've got Miramax, which they bought in 93 and sold in 2010. So for all you kids at home doing your homework, Pulp Fiction is a Disney movie, ladies and gentlemen. As is Kevin Smith's Clerks.
Yeah. As is Halloween, Curse of Michael Myers.
Which, that's not going to make anybody's list.
I didn't say it would, but I'm just saying.
I doubt it would make people's top 10 Halloween movies list.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And there's
they'd rather put Season of the Witch on over that one.
Right. And honestly, I'm not sure where I have to watch it. I just watched it recently. I think H2O and Resurrection also fall in that window. So the three last sequels before Rob Zombie took over the franchise are technically Disney movies.
Which may be why they're included on that 3-movie Blu-ray collection.
Yeah, it's not. I'll have to look at the release of the distributor, but I'm pretty sure it's a Disney subsidiary. Anyway, yeah. So those 3 movies, Pulp Fiction, it's crazy.
Hollywood Pictures, Encino Man, Son-in-Law, Pauly Shore movies are part of the Disney library, folks. Choke on that one for a moment.
God, no wonder Disney has so much turnover at the top. They're all one to make their heads explode and go away.
They were too busy wheezing the juice. And if you don't get that reference,
you're okay in my book.
Aw.
Dude, fuck Pauly Shore. Seriously, he's such a dick.
Pauly Shore is awesome. But anyways. We're not including libraries that Disney purchased. So the fact that they just recently bought 20th Century Fox and gained the rights to the original Star Wars, Empire, Jedi, Rocky Horror Picture Show, those movies are not allowed in the grand scheme of things,
but
because of the fact that Disney didn't have their hands in them. Now the new trilogy, the new trilogy, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker, Rogue One, Solo, those do qualify because those were Disney produced.
Right.
So that's just an example. What else we got, Jeff?
Well, in 6 weeks, it's July, which means if you're a wrestling fan, July, it only means one thing. It is time to celebrate 25 years of my favorite faction of all time, we will be doing the top 10 moments in the history of the New World Order.
A show that will definitely be way too
sweet. And I say moments because I'm not going to front. If you go outside of the realm of the Wolfpack and Kurt Hennig, the match quality in NWO, not always so good. So, much like our Kane show 2 weeks ago, a lot of those moments, if they're matches, are going to be story behind or story during, not the match quality itself. So, if you're a Meltzer mark, you won't probably like that show very much.
But that's just a little taste of what's on the horizon.
Yes.
Here for us at the Dads, not always on wrestling.
Right, exactly.
Thank you guys for tuning in and joining us. Make sure you do what that ticker says. Make sure you get out there, teespring.com/stores/Jeff Meacham Network and buy the merchandise. For the West Coast Professor Jeff Meacham, I am the Renegade, JJ Williams, and we will see you guys next time.